Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to your reading today. So today is going to be a reading. I was thinking around body talk, so talking to the body, a message from your body. We're coming up to as this is being recorded, coming up to the new moon, and it will be in Taurus, which kind of does touch on creature comforts, sometimes laziness, stubbornness, right? Energy, but our connection with body and the material, I feel like really sits quite well with this new moon energy. So regardless of when you're watching this as well, take that into consideration. It doesn't matter too much if it's 6 months from now and it's a completely different cycle. We always have a connection with our bodies, of course, and this physical realm, and that's really where this message is going to come from. So let's pick some piles. Okay. Right. So to help you choose your message today, we've got 3 piles. For pile number 1, you have the goddess Durga and Hematite, spear of the Guru Mother. Okay. For pile number 2, you have the angel Isda and Carnelian with nourishment. All right, and also here, goddess number 888. This one here is crystal 444. And for pile number 3, you have the angel Lahabiel and the black Tourmaline with purification. Again, 444. Okay, so these will be the 3 piles. Jump straight to your video if you feel you've already decided which one's for you. I'll give you a bit of time in the reading if you can't pause the video. Otherwise, down below will be your timestamps, so you can jump straight to your particular reading. If you're called to multiple, feel free to listen to them all and see which ones resonate. But remember, this is in regards to your body, a message from your body, a message to help you connect with yourself. Okay, and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, welcome to your pile number 1. So you've chosen Goddess Durga and Hematite with Spear of the Guru Mother. This is a message from your body, or your body talk, letting your body extend some kind of like message to you. It's an interesting one with Spear of the Guru Mother. I'm not a huge knower, I guess. Well, I don't have a huge amount of knowledge is probably a better way of saying it for Goddess Durga. But with Spear of the Guru Mother, it really kind of does remind me of Kali, that kind of energy, that clearing energy, but like almost like a tower or like a mountainous kind of like rift, disconnect. So I don't know if this has been something from the past that you're learning to heal now, disconnect with the body, or even if it's some kind of disconnect with surroundings, right? Your connection with Earth, in like a very broad sense. This could be now, could be in the past, like I said. So that's definitely what's coming through. It's about taking action. Hematite to me feels very cleansing, almost kind of sterile when I see it. I don't know if that's what the internet says or anything, but this is just from my own kind of experience with it. I was never really drawn to it, although I really did like it, but never really drawn to get it. It felt to me too strong. Maybe I couldn't handle it back in the day, but look, it's a very reflective, it has that kind of sheen. It's almost like a matte shine, which doesn't really make sense, but it's something about it that's really unique. So interesting card to pick first. This is the only goddess that has come out. The other 2 are angels. All right, what are we starting with here? Camera's a little close today, so I'll have to be mindful of space with the cards. But very powerful image here of this lightning bolt. Like it does feel like a tower, or like, you know, Kali coming through and clearing the board, you know, that kind of energy of resetting, in a sense, for your highest good, right? While tower moments and those kind of things aren't fun to go through, this isn't saying this is happening. This is more just talking to it in like a very real sense, like these things happen, or this has happened. How do we connect back with ourselves, with who we are? Okay, so you also have a Lord Shiva with Divine Fusion. Interesting, you're getting two characters, or not characters, but two gods of Hinduism. Lord Shiva with Divine Fusion. I flipped it straight away, and I think it's because they wanted me to roll on from this one into this one, and it really does talk to Divine Fusion, right? This connection. You're not separate from your body. When we're kind of like, we're out of the loop, let's say, or we incarnate, we're kind of like connecting with ourselves and understanding who we are, and that kind of connection with body, right? We forget everything that where we've come from. It's so we can have a good relationship or a strong connection with ourselves. And then if you go through a path of like spirituality or anything like that, which maybe, but since you're watching, you probably have, we start to kind of disconnect, right? We start to see ourselves as higher or different from this incarnation, and there's got to be a balance between the two, because you're here to release, process, do something in this lifetime, right? To do whatever you've decided to come here to do, and that disconnect, sometimes we start to disconnect from ourselves and see ourselves as just this, not what we're incarnated in at the moment. So there's got to be a balance. I think this is where this is coming back into who you are, connecting back to who you truly are as a higher being, like as a soul, as also this incarnation, you know, whatever your name is, as you. It doesn't feel like it's saying one's better than the other. It's more saying that both are just as important. Okay, I'll try not to flip the rest of them, but that one just really wanted to come through straight away. Shiva's been popping up a bit lately, not necessarily for me, but just in the energy, the collective energy. Also, I was just shuffling, I was thinking of this one. It's not just connecting with yourself, but also humanity. You are a human as well. It's not separate. Like I want to keep saying, it's not separate. You're human as well as this, as well as whatever you've been in your past lives, as well as whatever you'll be in your future lives, whatever planet you've incarnated a lot of times in, right? The starseed kind of energy. It's not about, this is just how it's feeling. It's not about seeing yourself as wanting to be separate or anything like that. This is about a union with all of yourself, all parts of you, even the parts that you don't connect with or find difficult to connect with. This is about a pure union with who you are, and taking the steps that need to be taken, making those shifts and changes that you know you really need to start doing, from a spiritual level, or even from a physical level. Doctors may have said something, you know, those kind of things. Okay. Right, let's get some tarot. Using the mini cards today, just because they're nice. Kind of, I can fit quite a few in. But very powerful energy coming through here. This deck is the Water Temple Oracle, and it has a lot of like, has powerful messages, but it's generally very like flowy. And so in this image of Shiva definitely is, but it feels also very strong, like this trident type thing, you know, very powerful. Almost looks like a spear, right? So anyway, let's have a look. You have listened to your guardian angel. It's really interesting. This feels like just from, especially this opening up in imagery is, again, you know, it's opening up to yourself. It's opening up to your true nature. Whether you identify as like starseed, human, whatever, it's not about labels. It's really about just connection with self and finding that peace within who you are and that calm within who you are. No matter what you suffer through, what kind of like ailments or diagnosis or anything like that, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, psychological, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's all part of you, and all of those bits and pieces have something to learn or gain from, if that makes sense. Guardian angel is going to guide the way. Call them in as well if you feel you need support, because they will always guide you to what is going to be important or send you like little hints and messages. It helps you connect with the now as well. So I do like that for you. It's like you are supported. There is no lack of support here from an angelic kind of perspective or from a guide perspective. So you've got access clear thinking. Perfect. You can see here with this kind of like yarn, but it looks like notes or like messages. It's kind of like a story, right? It's kind of like, where does it come from? Where does this belief system come from? Is that the source of where this needs to be looked at, cleansed, cleared? It's all like, what's the ultimate goal here? Is to connect you with who you are, be proud of who you are, be embodied in this lifetime, be in the now, be in this moment. Your higher self is connecting you straight with you, right, and is putting focus in this life right now. So out of all the lives, out of everything, this is a very clear focus. So that means that this is, you know, important and has value as well. But access clear thinking, how do you do that? Starting to unwind the yarn, let's say, or the blob, because when we look at the blob, I say blob, but like, you know, when we look at the ball, it feels like it's a lot. But when we start unraveling it, we can start to read it and see where it comes from and see what actually is the story. This can look very heavy if we look at it all at once. That's why you take one step at a time. It's kind of like if we were babies, right? And we could see everything that's going to happen. That would look very stressful, right? Because we could see everything all at once and all the possibilities. And what if we went this way? And so we see like a web of what could happen. That feels very overwhelming. When really we just take one step at a time. We go through the birth, we go through, you know, the first day, the first week, keep going. It's not like it's all happening necessarily at one time. We don't have to make all decisions right now. It's a process. It's a process. Okay. You also have fulfillment. I like this for you. This is really coming back to what is actually important. I was watching this, which probably helped with my decision to do the reading today, but I was watching this couple. They do a lot of like just fun stuff. And they were getting a lot of comments because one of the male, there's a male and female, and the female is, I guess you would say like overweight, large, like a larger woman. And the other one is quite muscular, lean, that kind of thing, the male. And so they're happy, no one else's business, right? Leave it at that. However, they wanted to address it because they wanted to talk about, you know, because he was getting some DMs from women who were slim, whatever, and they were saying, you know, you should be with someone like me, that kind of stuff. Obviously horrible, crappy thing, shitty people. Gives you an image of like what they're truly like in the heart. And that's where they spoke to. They said, this is not about just the physical. The physical is part of, the attraction. And then they started making up stuff like, oh, he must be into these kind of things, or fetishizes this, or they're just making up a whole lot of like rubbish, really, when really they're just kind of like having fun doing stuff. I mean, they're just living their freaking life. So anyway, and the purpose of me connecting with that is like there's more to it, and not just relationships, but even with our own relationship with our own body, than just the physical, right? If we just focus on the physical, we'll get a beautiful outside. But we need to balance that with like the inside and understanding who we are. And the fulfillment is like, what is really important? What is really fulfilling to you? Not what society says, not what anyone else says, not what your family think, not what some whatever magazine is saying that a perfect male or female should look like. This is like you and your connection with yourself. And it goes well deeper than just the physical. This is like the nourishment, the respect, the communication with yourself. So very deep card, very deep card. Yeah, with leadership and going back to the Guru Mother, this is for you to take a stand and make the shifts and the changes you want to see. Now, this could be a multitude of physical and like spiritual, emotional, mental kind of like conversations and planning, right? This is planning, but it's all up to you. You make the decisions, you make the choices from here onwards. Maybe in the past things weren't always in your hands, right? Certain things happened and that's how it's played out, but this is about taking the reins over now, because it's about you and it's for you. No one else is going to do this for you. Make these changes that you want to see for you. I think your guides are like hinting at things. If you're started to see certain ads for I don't know, something that's really important, like I don't know, there might be a lot of ads about iron deficiency, right? And you keep seeing them and it's like, why am I keep seeing these? Maybe you want to get that checked out or something like that, right? Or you're getting a lot of like therapy type conversations. Maybe you need to talk to a friend, family member, or your therapist about certain things that have occurred. This is very open to that. I'm not saying you should do this, that, or the other, because that's the whole point of leadership. It's not about being told what to do. It's about taking command and knowing that this needs to be addressed now, or these certain things need to be shifted now. It doesn't have to be as deep as emotional or anything like that. Maybe it is physical, but this is you. This is up to you. And you don't want to access it without clear thinking, right? You want to make a good plan, something realistic as well. But I would go with what does it feel like to you to be successful and like the peach ripe, right? Growing, fruiting, sprouting, that kind of thing. What does that feel like? Okay. Okay, so you've got the Ace of Cups. This feels like learning to love yourself. Again, with this heart space, I feel like if you love yourself, you can transfer that to others. That makes sense. There's always obviously different ways and different people do different things, but I feel like if we care and support and nourish ourselves or look after ourselves, or focus on our own fulfillment, we're better suited to supporting and helping those around us, our partner, our family, our children, all that kind of stuff. Temperance, again, getting that divine fusion. There is no bad parts of you. All parts of you are parts of you. That's it. How you integrate them, your shadows, your light, is up to you. Up to you. It's all about this. It keeps coming back to this. It's about your fulfillment and your, like, what fulfills you. What does it look like to have your cups filled, right? What's your 10 of cups? And taking action towards that. I do like this. You're fully capable of creating a more happier version of yourself, or a more fulfilled version of yourself. And I've said this before, it has to have balance. You're getting this balance here, this duality here. You're also getting this physical and spiritual here. the best way to connect with your higher self is through respect of your physical self as well. That's how it's kind of read. I don't know exactly what that means. Like that's what that was coming through. But I guess that really means this is not a one focus here, one focus there. It's a duality. It's kind of like when I say duality, I don't mean separate. It's almost like that's one. So that's why this is you connecting more with your true self. And that starts with the physical. It doesn't just start with the spiritual. Has to be a balance. This also feels like if you're looking at like changing some, dietary, exercise, that kind of thing, being realistic and taking it step by step. You still want to have fun. There's no point cutting out a whole bunch of stuff. This reminding me of when I used to work at a bank and in the back office, and I was a lady there. We just had a conversation around dietary stuff because I was talking about how at the time, I don't know, but at the time I like listed, like pretty much just put in like to count calories type thing. It was just an app and it kind of like calculated, just generally it wasn't perfect, right? But I was putting in things realistically of like what I was having, and she was like, oh, well, that's too hard. But then she just yo-yo dieted from this diet to this diet, like keto, and then this, and it's like, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And it's like, well, you can, you just choose not to, right? Unless, you had some dietary kind of like allergic reaction or whatever, but that wasn't the case in her situation. But yeah, you got to go with what works for you, and maybe that worked for her. But from what I saw when we were working together for about 5 years, it shifted and changed depending on what the fad was. Right, this one's the best one. This one's the best one. So now I'm going to eat a whole bunch of meat and all this kind of stuff. Or now I'm not going to eat meat. Whatever is right for you. But you got to learn and go through all those processes. So it wasn't like either one of us was wrong or right, but we had to find a way that made us happy. And sometimes counting the food wouldn't make you happy because you're seeing everything, but sometimes that's realistic too. It's like, oh no, I only had one of these, but then we put it in. It's like, wow, that's a lot. So it just gives me, gave me information of what I was consuming. Not trying to turn this into like my story, but I'm just giving you like examples, I guess. Got the High Priestess. I do like this, especially with this card. Like it just does feel very cohesive. This is it's an inside job, not just the outside. This is an inside job. High Priestess, high feminine energy, but also kind of relentless energy of like protection, letting your guards down, opening yourself up. You don't have to hide who you are from you. We've got the King of Pentacles, being practical about it, but again, taking charge. You're the one in control of what you can do on this planet. Like you make the choices. You don't make choices for everything, right? You don't decide what the weather's going to look like, but you can respond and make all the decisions based off the information that's in front of you. And then you've got the Five of Swords here. I do like this in a sense. I know it's the Five of Swords, which has that win-loss. There is no win-loss. There's no like good-bad. It's all parts of yourself. And I feel like this is an opportunity to really shift how you have your relationship with yourself and feeling here, getting to here. If you're feeling like in this situation, because this is like win-lose, right? The Five of Swords is kind of like I win, you lose, or you win, I lose type thing. Just getting out of that mentality of like, when I lose this much, I'll be happy. It's like, why? All that kind of stuff. Why? What's the real truth? What's the flesh of it? Like we get to see the outside, we know it's right, but we don't know what's inside, right? It could be rotten, it could be full of worms, who knows? But it's really getting like fleshing it out, not just the surface idea of like, wow, this person lost all this money to this scamming thing, right? So therefore they won. There's more depth to it. There's more comprehension and understanding. There's always more to the story, especially these days when we're watching a lot of like shorts and we get very little of the information, even less so than what we were getting before in the past. So, there's positive and negatives to everything. And, or like ups and downs, let's say, and always a need to balance. The Five of Swords is also a turning point. All the fives I feel are like the turning point, the challenge between the shift and change, right? So from like the cups is that like loss and grief and shifting into harmony, and then here with the swords, it's like that challenge after some kind of rest, and then shifting to a better place with the Six of Swords, going across the water and just getting out of this mentality or this old cycle. So that's how I feel this is coming through for you today, Pile 1. Really nice cards coming through. I feel like that's all I want to kind of touch on. Look, it's really important to focus on what you feel is correct for you, and also coming through with like, what does fulfillment feel like to me within myself, within my emotional self, my personal self, my physical self, and also, of course, balancing the light, the shadow, the higher, the lower, all that kind of stuff. As below, above, you know, that kind of saying. Very much about that. Has to be done with honesty and clarity, like being honest with yourself, letting yourself be vulnerable to yourself, being truthful and honest with yourself. This is, you've chosen Durga, so this is like very strong energy coming through, and a shift and a change that you have full ability to succeed in is how it's coming through. Okay, I know I've droned on and on, but I hope that really helps. Of course, let me know if you have any questions. I really like this. This is actually a very powerful kind of reading, like a very smart, intelligent, not saying like from me, but just like the energy of it. It's just getting things kind of like practical with respect to all aspects of who you are, and that's your message from your body. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, hello, welcome to your reading, pile number 2. So this is going to be an interesting one. The card, I have another deck which has probably not PC, it's very Australian, made by an Australian woman, and one of the cards that popped up while I was shuffling the cards for your reading today is one that says your soul has effed off, and generally what that's talking about is recalling your power or coming back to who you are. It says go find it, kind of thing, like go find your true essence. So if you're not clutching your pearls, you know, you'll be fine with this reading. This might go a little bit deep, but it is really touching on nourishment. You've chosen Angel Isda and Carnelian. Nourishment is about not just recalling it. I feel like there's going to be an aspect for someone who's picked this pile that this is a kind of like a big recall, like a big connection bond back, instead of seeing yourself as separate from your body, right? It's like a kind of thing, like you've pushed your body away, kind of like it's just here. Once I've passed, I don't have to worry about it, kind of thing. There's an aspect of that, but also on the lighter end of the stick, let's say, this is about what is my fulfillment? What do I need to do to cleanse, to let go, to consume, to start to really feel back in touch with myself? So it was an interesting introduction to your reading, but that's how this is coming through. It's kind of like getting back your fire when it's been doused. It's like that kind of energy. But yeah, I got that big whoosh of like, you know, getting back in touch with who you are, who you truly are. Because it is always going to be a balance, right? We are higher beings, incarnate. That doesn't mean our incarnations are any less than our higher self. That's not exactly it. Otherwise, if we truly thought that, we would listen to our higher selves and our guides. We don't always. Because we do know stuff, right? We're living it. We're living proof of what's happening. So we do trust ourselves, or at least ignore sometimes our higher selves. But it's about a cooperation and a conversation. It's kind of like, it almost makes me think of the United States of Tara, right? Where she had multiple personalities. I'm not saying you have multiple personalities, sort of, but it's just like, if you could imagine that those separate beings of self just having a conversation and like a collective kind of agreement That's how this reading's coming through. So very odd way to start the reading, but that's how I feel it needs to be said at the moment. Okay, so let's get into your reading. If I haven't already scared you off. I honestly thought when I saw Nourishment, I was like, oh, this is the feel-good, easy pile. But then when I started shuffling cards, I was like, oh, okay. This is a bit of a tough one. Also, just the very red energy of here. This is about your foundations. This is about your kind of like survival, right? Your connection with being a human almost. But we'll see what the message is without me going too far on. I guess your body really wants to talk to you about some stuff. Okay. All right, let's take a look at your reading today, Pal 2. Oh my gosh, look at that. Nourishment with renewal. This is like, she looks quite exhausted, right? She's not done, but she looks like it's time for some self-care. So I'm like, after all that conversation at the start of the reading, it's like, okay, let's start off with what are my needs now? What do I need to do to get my energy back? That's really what it is, about getting your, I don't want to say power, because power could mean many things, but I want to say like your vitality, getting that juice back in you, so to speak. So it says here, I'm refreshed with the light of love. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's see what else. You also have recognized divine timing. That's interesting. Every time I see this card, it's about you can't, oh, this is like how I usually see it. It's like you can't control how people respond, how things happen. You can't force this through. This has to be an honest connection with self. It's like kind of like going into a meditation, but you don't feel like meditating, right? It's probably going to help, but it's not going to be as deep as like, okay, well, I've done what I needed to do. I'm not going to be thinking about that. Now it's time to meditate, or like I can disconnect from this now because it's not important. I have 3 weeks before I need to do this. If I'm going to think about it for 3 weeks, I'm literally spending a huge amount of my energy and time on this thing that's not going to happen until another 3 weeks. Potentially may not happen, right? Because life changes, things shift. So recognize divine timing is also recognize, is it something I need to focus on at this moment? Listen to your intuition. Interesting. Yeah, you gotta, this one is all about kind of clearing the way or refilling, getting back into harmony, let's say, with your chakras, with your kind of like feeling towards yourself, and then knowing when it's the right time to move forward. How do you know? Intuition. Intuition is such a strong energy, I feel, to know when this is right, or to when to comment about this, or when to talk to your partner about this, or when to ask your boss about this, that kind of thing. And also when to just make a decision that you feel empowered to make. Fulfillment, okay, no worries. This one popped up actually in this position in pile 1, so if you feel called to that, there was a very different message, but you know, this is starting to cool the jets a little bit from the start of the message. Fulfillment, I mean, this is literally where these are kind of coming from. What's really important to you? And these ones, renewal, fulfillment, nourishment, very similar words, slightly different meanings, but like what is important to you? what actually is nourishment to you? What kind of things are you consuming physically? What kind of things are you consuming on the TV? All that kind of stuff. Because that can help and also hinder and provide too much information, right? Or provide so much information that 60% of it's not actually accurate or even true to your life. Maybe true in this part of the world, but not necessarily in your world. So this is understanding what this is to you. What is fulfillment? What are my cups? 10 of Cups kind of card. What does that look like for me? Because my 10 of Cups could be very different to your 10 of Cups. And then compared to someone else's 10 of Cups, because it's not about a unified path, especially on Earth, because we're so expanded at this point to be able to incarnate here at the vibration that we do. So this is really about what is this for me, or in your point, for you. What is fulfillment to you? Transformation, nice, very cool card here. There is some slight changes that will occur. It also feels like there's changes in what you decide. There's opportunities for change. This transformation isn't just happening. It kind of is, but it also has a place at, what am I trying to say? Has a point, how do I word this? So it's more like it's an opportunity for you to make the changes, but also life is always constantly shifting and changing, right? We can't stop anything. It's like this poem, which I think I'm just remembering from high school. We did, what was it? I think it was Of Mice and Men, which was interesting because we're in New Zealand and we're reading an American book. But I think it's this one, or maybe it was Catcher in the Rye. I just cannot remember right now. We read a couple of American books. But anyway, there was like a poem, it's like nothing stays golden forever, which generally, and I remember the teacher asking, what does that mean to the class? And no one answered. And I said that nothing stays the same. And like, that's exactly it. Nothing stays the same. Otherwise we'd still be baby, right? Or we wouldn't be born. You know, that kind of stuff. Things always changing. Our partnerships, our relationships change. Our physical bodies change. We can't stop the process of like linear time, let's say, in this kind of form, as much as people try. Well, not at the moment anyway. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but at this moment of this recording. All right, so you've got Chariot. I like this card, the shadow and the light aspects here. This isn't about a war between who you want to be and who you are, or who you were and who you are now. It's also not a war between your light aspects and your shadow aspects, the things you're processing, or the things that you find challenging. Those are just opportunities. The stuff in the light, the things that bring you joy and love, those aren't the only things, right? They're not just you're all parts of, you're all of that. You're all of it. You're everything. And going, further on, we are everything. We're all made up of the same the same stuff, essentially. So we've got Knight of Pentacles. I like these horses coming through because it feels like progress, steadfast progress and opportunity, and also making a plan. Like when I'm coming back, I know I'm talking about it from a very high perspective, but I'm coming back to like connection, whether this is about nourishment is like your emotional well-being or your physical well-being. For some people it might be just giving yourself an opportunity to meditate, giving yourself an opportunity to go get a massage, have a spa date with like friends or whoever, those kind of things. Whatever this is for you, like I said, fulfillment is not to be told to you what that is, even though we're kind of drilled in like from childhood, right? Especially if we grew up in like a Western culture. It's like, you should be doing this, you should get this education, and then you should have this many children, and you should have your partner at this age, that kind of thing. And like, you should have this career and you're making this much money, then you'll be happy, because then you'll be able to afford this house and this car. And it's like, well, that might be someone's, but other people, they might be going out into the woods and start building their own house and having plants and just living off grid. That sometimes is what's right for them. I love the idea of that. For me personally, it does not work. It just would not work. Plus, I live in Australia. I don't want to go out into the, to the wilderness. But yeah, you know, joking aside, like, you know, it's all different for everyone. Okay. This card came up in the same position too. Literally here, it's all a balance of the, like, your physical and your spiritual. There's no, this one's better than this. You also have to make it fun. So if you're thinking of changing dietary plans or anything like that, obviously speak to your professional, health professional, all that kind of stuff. I'm not doctor, definitely not giving out advice in regards to that. I'm talking to this more in like the physical, as in your material world and your spiritual world. None is better than the other. If the spiritual was better, you wouldn't have incarnated. You made a choice to incarnate. You came here, or were probably pushed. Some people nudged, you know, but essentially you had free will. You chose to eventually come here at some point. Whether you left it until the last minute and then were like kicking and screaming, you at some point before that made the choice. So this is about understanding who you are and what's really important in your soul. You know, it's not just the surface, it's skin deep. It's like it goes deeper than that. You also have the Five of Swords coming through. Okay. This one also came out different position, but came out in the last reading. So the cards are, you know, are starting to be pretty similar in the reading, which just means that there's a very similar message across the collective. We must be connecting, adjusting on the same wavelength or similar wavelength, or at least you know, the people here that are listening today. There's no win-loss with this. The Five of Swords is about win-loss. It's like you win, I lose, or vice versa. And here you can kind of see like the message and the knowledge. Like he's holding his head because it's like, oh, I lost this, or in the past I lost this, so I'm not going to do that anymore. And then in the background there's this like essence of freedom, and it's not just about this one point or this one particular thing that's happened. The kind of growth comes from the release or the processing or the acknowledgement of what has happened to you or what has been done. And that is also kind of nourishment, right? To remove some of the baggage in the closet, cleaning out the closet, getting the skeletons out, clearing out a room. It's very much like a metaphor for like emotional, mental, your idea of your physical, projected ideas from news, magazines, all that kind of stuff. This is not about a win or a loss. You don't win or lose. You win because you're able to, and you chose to come here. I feel like everyone who's come here has won in a sense. Whether they pass earlier or later, it's not about or what they do. It's really about being here, and it's just coming back to, you don't have to do, you just have to be. Okay, Queen of Swords, cutting stuff out, cutting out old thoughts as well. She can be kind of volatile, right? This Queen of Swords, or any Queen of Swords really, but this one feels very thoughtful. She feels like she's taking a higher view. It's like a higher perspective. Kind of very makes sense with after this one because she's in the mountains, or this guy's in the mountains, and so same with this queen. You know, she's witty, she's intelligent. It's getting back to that kind of loving aspects or heartfelt aspects. This isn't gone. It's just been shadowed by some of the BS in life, some of the baggage, that kind of stuff, all that kind of thing. And she's very, very thoughtful and mindful to start removing some of those old things and looking here, like dropping some of the baggage, dropping the things that you do not need. Taking your time step by step. This isn't about a rush. The Chariot is also, you know, those aren't very quick, and neither is the Knight of Pentacles. But sometimes that slow process is much faster than rushing and then, you know, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps. It's not about that kind of movement. This is 1 step forward, consistent. Yeah, transforming some of that. Some of this won't be just cut away. You're not cutting away like old ideas or old people or anything like that. You're kind of transforming how you view the relationships, how you view your connection with yourself, that kind of thing. This isn't just about black and white. This is all the colors. All right, and then we're finishing off with the Five of Wands. There's going to be some effort and some discipline, I would say, to reach the goal as well. All aspects of self, right? This feels like all you because they're all very similar dressed in here. So it's like they're all reaching for the same goal. You don't have to fight other aspects of yourself to get what you want and need. Just personally, like kind of understanding where you are at, where you're at with how you feel about yourself, where you're at with how you feel about your physical self, emotional self, those kind of things. Being very honest and clear, and knowing that you can get where you need to get to. Sometimes part of ourselves is like, we're really good at this, and we're so confident and strong with who we are as a, let's say our job, that kind of thing. Now it's time to like get all the other bits and pieces of ourselves that can wait there because they're almost touching the goal, right? They're pretty much, they're good, they're on track. And now it's time to get our emotional self, how we see ourselves as like a physical being, all that kind of stuff, whatever that means to you, whatever that feels like is correct, I mean, for you. And I do like this because it all comes back to like, it's all possible. You'll get there. You're not going to know the path exactly when you'll reach these particular goals, but they're all going to happen in a way that is a nice step by step, you know, taking one step at a time up the mountain, I guess. You don't want to jump 3 or 4 steps, especially if it means you'll start to wobble, because then you could fall down. Then you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to make less progress, and you're just going to have to start again. But even if that does happen, that's okay. Start again. It's better to move forward than to just leave it, right? So divine timing isn't about just being patient. Yes, there's part of it, but it's also about knowing that I'm ready for the next step, and when that is, when does that happen? So I would focus on these 2 cards cleanly with the transformation. This is a change, an opportunity to shift and change with from like the heart space, like not because of what anyone else says or, you know, etc., etc. This is about you and what brings you joy, and really tapping into that moon energy, which kind of is interesting because we're coming up to the Taurus new moon, if you go by tropical, and also focus on like if you're watching this like when it's released, but you can watch this anytime, it's absolutely fine. The moon kind of represents our inner world at a very simple sense. So focus on these 2 cards as first, and then take whatever resonates with this message. I really hope this has helped you. Trust yourself, believe in yourself. Look, you've got A, B, C kind of, I don't know where the B is, but you know, we've got A and C. It's like one step, like process. It's a step by step. A lot of birds coming through too, or winged creatures as a feeling, with here, 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 and here, and even here in the background. So winged creatures always just make me think of like messengers or signs, like, you know, thumbs up, you're doing well, that kind of thing. But anywho, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. I really hope this has helped. Any questions, of course, leave a comment. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, Pile 3. So there was a lot of interesting energy coming through with this reading. While I was shuffling the cards, there was, I don't know, there was a lot. Which makes sense actually, because when I was shuffling these cards, and I feel like I should put in what happened, but the 10 of Wands flipped up reversed, and that's usually, to me, a sign of needing to release or in the process of letting go, but trying to take too much on, right? And purification, that's about cleansing or releasing as well. Purifying is like, you know, when you purify yourself of toxins or of a virus, you do what you need to do with medication or food or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff, or like you know, even listening to higher vibrations to kind of connect with that higher wavelength. So this is an interesting, you got Angel Lahabiel and Black Tourmaline. Very cleansing energy. Tourmaline as well, I do like it. It's just very strong. There's very kind of few black stones that really I can kind of like vibe with. I do have some obsidian, which does, for whatever reason, feel more milder, even though the way it's produced is quite violent, right? Like a big blast. So it's interesting, but again, similar, it is absorbing. The black crystals are absorbing, kind of like leaching the toxins out. So we'll see how this relates to your reading today. But remember, this is a message from your body, or let your body talk kind of reading. I feel like this is more of just like, allow this message to, like, allow your body to just talk and speak and just listen. Is how it's coming through. It sounds a little bit sassy, but that's when I was shuffling, it sounds sassy. Like the message was coming through really sassy. So I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll see. Which maybe that's like not taking things so seriously, or it could be like the body's had something to say, let's just say. It's kind of like tried to nudge you in the right direction a few times, and now it's kind of like a little bit sassy. That's all I can say. But we'll see, of course. Okay. These two together. I was going to take this one, and then the other one really wanted to come out, but I'm still going to take it. So you're going to have 3 here. They may be covered, but I'll show you them. They're just one word, so you'll be able to rewind if you need to connect back with it, but I'll try to make sure you can see enough of the card to understand the meaning. We're going to take all these, actually. All right, let's take a look at your reading today. Woo! Okay. Cards are flicking around on your reading. That's what's like, what is this energy? Is this like too much energy, or is this like, too much energy in one area? Kind of like, I don't want to label it, but you know how some people tick, or they need to like get things moving, or just like can't settle. Maybe it's that kind of energy. But we've got a white tower with resilience. I love this. My spirit endures. It can be a challenge though, enduring certain things, right? Especially here with like the winter. Imagine, like, this is from me living in Australia, but like imagine the challenge it is to not be able to grow certain things, or just be out in the wilderness when it's super cold and have to make sure that you have enough for the winter, that kind of thing. It's very different to where I grew up even in New Zealand. So it didn't really snow where I lived. But anywho, that's kind of the environment. And then we're talking from your physical body. It is like, it's gone through some battering, right? It's gone through some challenges, either from others or from ourselves, physically or even mentally, right? When we look in the mirror and we get angry at ourselves, like, why do we have this or that or the other? It's like, it goes through some challenges, but it's always here to support you. If you ever get sick, you'll know that your body responds and tries to fight it off and to clear it out and to refresh you and get you better and healthy. Like, you have a whole lot of little organisms or cells, or whatever you want to call them, supporting you. You have like a whole team, essentially. We have our gut biome. Like, we're not just, even though we would like to think we're just one being, There's like we're made up of a whole lot of stuff that are our cells, that are like bacteria, right, in our gut, that kind of thing. We're made up of a lot of stuff, made up of a lot of things that work harmoniously most of the time, right? Not talking about when cells go rogue, but anyway, spirit endures. That's absolutely true. In the end, no matter what we've been through our life, our soul will always be there to continue forward. And what we do in the now, in this physical world, matters. So how you treat yourself, how you respect yourself, how you let yourself be respected and treated is really important. And I'm not talking about the past. This is talking about from now onwards, from here onwards. The past is done. Right, so you've got ground yourself. This does feel like really connecting with who you are. It's really important. Grounding isn't just about connecting with the earth. Overall, it's about being present, being connected with your higher self even. You might think, well, why am I going up? It's because being present allows you to not just be connected with yourself or connected in the now, but also it's all parts of you. It's being aware. It's a big kind of like opportunity to be aware of what's happening in this moment, not where your mind takes you on a journey. And like I said when I was shuffling, the 10 of wands coming out reverse just feels like that. Is this a time of letting go? Is this a time of allowing people in to support and help you? Know that your body is supporting and helping you with all the little like white blood cells that help you stay healthy. You know, all that kind of stuff, and you having the opportunity to choose what kind of things you consume, right? What kind of foods you consume that either help or potentially even hinder. This is an opportunity to look at that, not to judge it, not to criticize, just to be aware. Your reading really feels like awareness. And you also have embrace meditation. I love the grounding in meditation. You could do a grounding meditation, literally. I enjoy doing grounding meditations, although nothing really beats going out into the wilds, right? Or putting feet on grass, as the saying goes. And that really is about just not just doing it for the sake of doing it. It's with intention. Everything that you do has the ability to you have the ability to like have intention with what you're doing. So very interesting one. And like it's saying, your shadow self, your light self this isn't about just like highlighting one or the other. This is letting all of who you are be recognized and be treated with respect or equally, right? The stuff that is hard for us to accept and the stuff that's easy for us to accept. It's just about looking at it all and being aware of it. So that can be a process in itself, but you're a strong enough person. You've probably been through a lot harder than what you will hopefully go through in the future, right? But regardless if anything challenging does come up, you've already gone through the hardest parts. That feels honestly just true. I don't know you personally, of course, or who's watching this, but that does feel true. All right, so you've got a lot of these cards. Wow. Fulfillment again. This card has come up in every single pile. Your body, all of the piles, your body is really talking to, because this was like, this card really wants to come out. So I grabbed it. It's about what's important to you. This is all about joy and fulfillment, getting what you need. 10 of Cups energy. My 10 of Cups is going to be different to your 10 of Cups. Some people it's to get a beautiful house in the mountains or something, or an apartment in the city, right? Those are very different environments, but it's up to the individual. It's not up to society to tell me, no, you should want the apartment in the city. That's what real success is, because it'll be worth blah, blah, blah. Who cares what anything's going to be worth? Go get what you want, not what you think you want. Not what you think or told you want. Even what you think you want, right? It's what you feel and know you want. Go for those goals. So, questioning is what brings you fulfillment? What does that actually look like? You've got take risks. I do like that. This doesn't feel like a super risky pile. So I guess it's just pushing in some kind of like the Fool energy, you know, the Muse energy. as I like to see it written sometimes, the dreamer as well, as it's seen. Like going for those goals, going for those trying something new or different, giving yourself a taste of variety. I do like that. And solitude. I do like solitude as well, because it's taking you back to like who you truly are. This isn't about what your husband, wife, partner, or parents, or the world, the news, the magazines you read telling you what's the right look, the right fashion, all that. Like, sure, those are fun kind of things, and if you want to get inspired, those should be inspirations. They shouldn't be ideals or what is right for you. But you do you. Taking risks, go for it. It doesn't feel like a risk. That's why I feel like it didn't feel risky. It feels like just pushing a goal, because you're kind of like it feels like you're worth it as well, but also like you've got enough knowledge and backing behind you. So this is about self-belief as well. Okay, so you've got the Knight of Pentacles. Yep, taking, like, that's why it's like, the risk, it's like a goal, but it's also, you've got everything you need around you. You're not selling your house and selling everything to go live in the woods, right? Without actually having experience living in the woods. This isn't that kind of risk. This is like, you've got everything you need. You're not actually risking your job, your life, anything like that. You're just making inquiries, let's say. And I know this is more focused at the body, but I feel like happy outside makes happy inside. Happy inside makes happy outside. It's about both. Judgment, yeah, you've learned a lot. Make sure you do at times reflect on your journey and how far you've come as well. Certain things will pop up. Like for me, I use this example a lot. I had not a great boss back in the day, and it pushed to a point where I ended up going part-time and moving teams. Like, it was that challenging, but that opened up such a big door to like, why was I working full-time? I was making good money, but I was like not enjoying spending it or living, right? I ended up going on holiday because I just needed to get away. It didn't feel like I was going on holiday to go enjoy it. It was like, anything will be better than this kind of thing. So that was a huge growth opportunity. And while it came from a shitty situation or not a great situation, it also opened up the door to a lot of better things. So I could look at it and be like, it was horrible, that wasn't great, etc. But also I feel like that was the purpose of him coming in and kind of like pushing me in that direction, even though I made the full decision to do what I did. He wasn't trying to force me out necessarily, but it really did give me that opportunity. So I'm grateful for that happening and grateful for him, even though, that's hard to say for some people. I'm now at the point where I can be grateful for that, for sure. So there's sometimes in the moment we're like, this is a horrible thing. When we look back, it was like, thank goodness that did happen, even though it wasn't great. At least it got me to make the decisions that now I feel very confident and empowered by. Four of Pentacles, I would say with this one, don't be afraid to take those risks, take those leaps, build up on what is really important to you. You're not going to lose aspects of yourself. And if you're more focused in the material or in the spiritual, either or, you're not going to lose any aspect of yourself. I feel like sometimes people will focus on their starseed energy. It's more of like a supplement or a help to your life here. It's not an escape. It shouldn't be an escape, because if that was true, if that was where you were supposed to be, you would have incarnated there, or you would have stayed up in heaven or wherever we end up going in the astral planes. So don't be afraid to express or open up. And same, this card can go vice versa, right? It can be like someone who's being very frugal, or someone who's just like overspending, that kind of thing. So that's when it needs to be like reined in, let's say. And I'm saying spending, it's not just money, but using that as like a metaphor for like energy or for time or anything like that, whatever you feel that relates to you. Because like this reading isn't about me telling you who you are or what you need to do. This is about you telling yourself who you are and what is going to bring you success and fulfillment. But take your time with this. I love the solitude coming in. It's really about like hermiting. Hermiting isn't about hiding away or isolating. That would be isolation. This is about taking some mindful time and being in the moment. And same with grounding yourself and embracing meditation. It's about being aware and receptive and open. Okay, just in case if that message didn't come through. All right, so you've got Two of Wands. Lovely. Oh, it's interesting. That came reverse. Three of Pentacles. And again, the Hermit card, doubling down on the importance of self-reflection, self-acknowledgement, appreciating the times when you have made changes and shifts for yourself, the changes you made, the ascension, the kind of like growth, because everything that we go through and that we come through at the side better or more knowledgeable, right? Even if it was a horrible situation, we still learn from it. We definitely learn from the challenging stuff. Otherwise, we would probably not grow as much as we do. But there's a lot to the story. We can look back at, like, I can look back at school and it was pretty tough, but there were good times as well. There was times when I got to spend time with friends and enjoyed, and those sometimes seem more shadowed by the difficulty at school and you know, interactions with various people. I like this though, because it feels like we're going from here to here. Sometimes this feels like trying to do things by yourself, and then upright is letting people in as well, letting people in time. I would say in time, or reflecting on those people where you thought you had support and you didn't, and just seeing, I don't know, it's not like I should tell you what to do, but it's like reflecting on it and just seeing what messages you get from that, if you're still struggling with that being part of your story, right? I know this is a message from the body, but the body is also the mind and the emotions as well, and I feel like that's really important in your reading today, pile 3. I do love the two here. Why I kind of left it is like, she's got the world, right? She's looking out the window. She's not wanting anything. She's just kind of like, where's my next step? Where am I going to find that? And it's not just in the external, it's also in the internal. Your heart has to sing to the, you know, the wavelength or the song that's being played out there. And if the two, like music, like your heart and the heart of another, or the soul of a job or an idea, play at the same frequency, and you know, kind of like you can create like an orchestra or like a symphony or whatever, then that's where you go to. Just because something's louder, like the news, or something's louder, like, oh, I have to have this in my life at this age because that's normal, or that's what other people do, right? Just because that's louder doesn't mean the music's going to go together. One might be like, I don't know, screamo music, and one's classical music. Not always going to harmonize, right? So you've got to go with what harmonizes to you. That's a really weird metaphor or whatever I'm saying, but that's kind of like how it is. It's got to resonate to you personally, individually. And sometimes you'll start playing a different song, and so you'll go towards what resonates, and then that doesn't resonate anymore, so it separates. And that's okay, because you're not here to do anything other than live your life truly in a fulfilling way. So that takes me to the taking risks. Okay, lovely reading. Hopefully this helps you with your journey. Message from your body is like, overall, I feel like is, you know, it is touching on the purification, but it's really about fulfillment and giving yourself space and time to consider all of this, and to consider what is important to you. Take your time with it. There is absolutely no rush with the Knight. He doesn't rush, he lets go. This is about cleansing, absorbing some of that old energy and looking at it, being honest and looking at it. Does it look like something I need to carry with me now, or is it's time to let go? Learn from the lessons, challenging or successful or whatever you. Let yourself be free. I feel let yourself be explorative with your personal self. All right, I'm gonna leave that there because otherwise I'll keep going on and on. But really appreciate you letting me read for you and connecting with your energy. This is a really lovely reading. I feel like you got the more flowy of the readings, even though I thought pile 2 would be that one, but looks like this one is the cohesive and very internal, right? The very mindful one. So doesn't mean it's better or worse. This is just how I'm feeling. But anyway, take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.